Elephant is part of one of the largest auto insurance companies in the world with operations in 7 countries. But we only have one hometown, Richmond. Thank you, Richmond. We're proud to be one of your fastest growing employers. More care, less cost. That's the Elephant difference.
We talked last, we got the win again at St. Louis early in the year. What can we expect from them? And, how excited are we for your first A10?
It's great. First of all, to have the A10 here in Richmond is so exciting, and obviously St. Louis is a very good team. We had a tough battle out there, and expect that it'll be another great game again on Thursday.
Is it hard to beat a team twice in a season? Because you figure I know you guys prepare the same way and everything like that, but is that hard to beat a team twice in a season?
I think when it's tournament time, it's any game. You're just looking to play that game as best as you can. I know that there's some of those things. I think it's more about can you beat a team 3 times. So on the 2, I think for us, we're going to try to use our athleticism against St. Louis. They have a really strong inside game, and that'll be a battle. But I think our players will be really excited to play in the tournament, and especially, like I said, it being right down the street.
What were you guys had a nice road in there earlier this year. What did you guys do well in that game? And you kind of take that.
I thought we did a really good job controlling the tempo. It was a fast-paced game and up and down, and we were able to score some points in transition. And then defensively, I think we were really active and did a good job of keeping them off of the offensive glass. And rebounding for us all year is an important stat. When we can do that, it really ignites our offense.
Now that the regular season is over, what you are specifically stressing to your team this week?
Oh, wow. Obviously yesterday was disappointing. I thought that probably had played well defensively, but offensively we needed to execute a little bit better and make some more shots going down the stretch. So I think for us it's being able to move past that and realizing that everybody on Thursday is 0-0 and getting our mind right and really just getting our confidence level back up that, hey, we can go after St. Louis and just move on from there.
I know there's a certain amount of pressure that comes to the playoffs, but is it also kind of more relaxed in a sense that everyone does have a clean slate and you guys do get a fresh start, so to speak?
Yeah, I think so. I think, it's everybody wants to be playing in March. That's what you do, all the sprints and the lifting and the early morning practices. You want to have the opportunity to play in that tournament atmosphere. And I think with that excitement comes just a little bit of, wow, we're here, and let's try to enjoy it, but let's also make sure that we play great.
It's not your home arena, but you are staying in town. What kind of advantage, or is there an advantage to playing in your home city?
Yeah, we've done really well playing at home, and so we look at it that way. We're going to sleep in our own beds. We're going to have our shoot around here like we normally would for our home game and our home cooked meal, and then we're going to head down to the arena and hopefully, like I said, play our best basketball.
You get the first game Thursday, the eliminator.
Yep.
What are some challenges of having that early start for your team?
I think there's good and bad. You don't have to worry about not that anxiety all day long. You get to just get up and go, and then with college kids you got to get them up and go. That's the big thing. But we have had a couple of kids games this year that have been early games, so we have a routine for those early morning games, and we'll stick with that. And like I said, there's just such an excitement when you're playing in the conference tournament and it's March. I think we'd be ready to go whether it's 11 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night.
Coach Schaefer had said something along the lines last year after VCU and Richmond played the noon game on Friday. He's like, you got the 2 local teams here in the tournament, and they play on the second day of the tournament, they play early. Like, couldn't we switch this around to maybe have the hometown teams play late so a lot of people could show up? Do you wish that there was some other way that you and Richmond didn't this time play back-to-back on Thursday before 4 o'clock?
Yeah, it's always, when you're basing the tournament on seeding, it's one of those things that's always difficult to control the game times. We had 1,800 people here yesterday for the game. I thought that was a great atmosphere for the game. Our players enjoyed it. I'm sure the Richmond players did as well. There's something like that you want to be able to put as many fans in the Coliseum as possible, and to the game times, you hope that they work out a little bit better. But I think we'll still have a great crowd. I think, our band, the Peppas, they bring such great atmosphere, just having them there, and our fans have been great all year.
I know you guys are focused on your team right now, but can you just take a moment and speak to how impressive it is the job that Michael and those guys have done over there, given all they've been through in the offseason, et cetera?
Yeah, I think as a person, I think, you root for Richmond when they're not playing you. I mean, what an incredibly difficult and sad situation for them, and it's with Jeannie and Natalie, and you want to see them and their program do well because of it. And, like I said, any game that they're not playing us, you want them to do well. And, I obviously have the utmost respect for Coach Schaefer and his staff for how they've handled this year with such class, and really have done just, I think, an incredible job honoring Ginny and Natalie.
Do you feel like yourselves, and maybe Richmond, not speaking for them per se, just feel like you have to carry the banner of the city of Richmond in this year's tournament?
I think, I think we love the opportunity that we want, that we're at home, and that we get to host. And I think, I think both of us want to go through the tournament and play as many games as possible, and really take that home team advantage as far as we can. So I think, with our young team, I think it's a great thing for us. It allows us to be a little bit more relaxed in our routine, and hopefully get them comfortable going into the tournament. But I think both of us would like to do great, so we can, like we said, keep Richmond proud.
And having it in a quote neutral site, does that have that sense of a big time tournament atmosphere?
I think so. It'll be my first time through it, but in ones that I've been in the past that have been in neutral sites, it does. It always makes it feel a little bit more like you're in the NCAA tournament. You have that tournament feel. All of the teams are in the hotels, and you've got everyone getting that that one and done feel. Just brings such an excitement to the game and to the tournament. So I'm excited for it. I know our players are, and Thursday can't get here quick enough.
You guys have had 30 games to kind of get to know each other and kind of grow as a team. What, if you could point to one or two things you guys need to do to be successful this week, what would you point to?
I think we've got to play hard for 40 minutes, and that really means that we've got to compete every possession. We're not a team that I don't think has been in the position where we're blowing out teams. Every game's going to be a close game, and we've got to embrace that. And really our motto of playing hard has got to be whether we're making shots or they're not falling for us. So that's something that we talk a lot about in competing in practice, and that mentality. And I think our players have bought into it. For us, it's just staying consistent with that. And I think for Thursday's game against a very good St. Louis team, we're going to need that mentality.
Assess your first year?
Throw the record out. I think for us in your first year, one of the things that are really important is building your culture. And sometimes that's even not as much as what you do in the games as what you do off, and how you practice, and how the lessons that we try to teach our players off the court. And I think we're building a good foundation. I think our players have bought into what we're trying to accomplish. And really, I think it's been a good first year. I think, we're going to keep getting better. And as we progress and go through this season, and then how we do our off season as well, I think it's exciting times for us, and we'll see the program continue to build.
Elephant is part of one of the largest auto insurance companies in the world, with operations in 7 countries. But we only have one hometown, Richmond. Thank you, Richmond. We're proud to be one of your fastest growing employers. More care, less cost. That's the Elephant difference.